When I tell you that this week's reality TV left me, like, completely and utterly breathless.
Oh, I'm still recovering. My nervous system is shot.
Literally shot. I mean, we literally watched a grown woman try to put hot, freshly baked apple pie filling into a cold, store-bought graham cracker crust,
A tragedy. A culinary tragedy.
while her entire wedding timeline actively collapsed around her.
Yeah.
I am unwell. I am spiraling.
It is truly a masterclass in, psychological avoidance.
Totally. We are looking at a level of logistical negligence and pure, unadulterated reality TV delusion that is so profoundly messy.
Yeah, I had to physically pause my television, walk around my kitchen, and just stare out the window.
Just to process the sheer audacity of it all.
Right, because we are witnessing producer-manufactured panic colliding with genuine, terrifying procrastination,
Yes.
all while prioritizing aesthetics over literally everything else that matters in the adult world.
Which, okay, valid, but still.
I mean, it is the kind of premium, unhinged television that we live for, where the foundation of the house is actively on fire and the bride is out front, like painting the mailbox pink.
Oh my God, that is the exact vibe. Good morning, good evening, good day, good night, good life.
Welcome back, everyone.
Babes, we are so glad to have you here with us today. And babes, if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment.
Please do.
We really need you in the comments with us because we cannot carry the weight of this delusion alone.
We simply cannot. The psychological burden of watching these people navigate life is just too heavy for two mere mortals.
It's too much. Also, babes, we know you might be listening while driving, working, at school, or literally just surviving life right now. And babes, we fucking love our Snark Squad.
The absolute best squad on the internet.
Keep killing it out there, babes. Whatever you are doing amazing, and you deserve a little treat.
You really do.
Which means it is time for the official drink check-in. And I have an announcement that is going to shake the absolute foundation of this show.
Oh, brace yourselves for the aesthetic pivot of the century.
The slushed rosé wine is officially back.
It has returned.
Yes, we added strawberry puree, and no, we will absolutely not apologize for it.
Zero apologies will be issued at this time, or honestly, ever.
Never.
I mean, we are treating the kitchen slush machine like it is a high-end luxury appliance.
Because it is.
It is the centerpiece of the home. It is giving Michelin star dessert energy, even if it is technically just, cheap wine and pureed fruit from the freezer section.
Listen, I am emotionally attached to the sheer aesthetic of a slushy pink drink.
I know you are.
Like, is rosé emotionally healing? Yes. Is it exponentially more healing when it is spinning in a little vortex of icy perfection?
Apparently, yes.
Also, yes. There is something so profoundly comforting about holding a frosty, violently pink beverage.
Violently pink is the perfect way to describe it.
It just makes me feel like my life is together, even when my inbox is terrifying and I haven't folded my laundry in a week.
See, there is a deep, fascinating psychological paradox here, though.
What do you mean?
Well, why does literally every drink taste better frozen? It's the juxtaposition.
Oh, totally.
You have this beautiful, icy pink goblet that makes you feel incredibly classy, like you should be lounging on a yacht in St. Tropez.
Which is my ultimate goal.
Right, but the reality is you're sitting in sweatpants, acting completely chaotic, and getting a brain freeze while judging people on TLC.
Okay, you didn't have to call me out like that.
It's the duality of modern womanhood. We want the luxury aesthetic, but we want it delivered in the most chaotic, low-effort vehicle possible.
It is. And honestly, getting back into Baylen out loud this week, it triggered a massive spiral for me on that exact topic of aesthetics versus reality.
Oh, I can imagine.
Because, okay, full transparency with the Snark Squad. Because we do our daily gossip recaps, we already know how Baylen and Colin's wedding actually turns out in real time.
Right, we've seen the Instagram posts.
We know the spoilers, we know the end result, but watching the sheer delusion of the planning phase play out on TV right now?
It is elite entertainment.
It is. It is a completely different experience watching the train leave the station when you already know the bridge is out.
Exactly. We are watching them lay the tracks for a disaster that we've already seen documented on social media.
Literally.
But watching this episode, watching the sheer panic of committing your life to someone while arguing over, napkin colors, just made me sit back and think,
Think what?
are we ever going to do this?
Oh my God.
Will either of us ever actually get married? Or are we just going to sit here with our slushed strawberry rosé, judging other people's weddings until the end of time?
Babes, I had the exact same thought. I am a hopeless romantic at my core.
You really are.
You know this about me. I want the romance. I want the sweeping cinematic moment.
The aesthetic?
Yes, I want the aesthetic. I want the massive floral arch that costs more than my car. I want the perfect ethereal dress.
Of course you do.
But I am just too emotionally exhausted to even try anymore. The dating app wasteland has literally drained the life force out of me.
It really has.
It is a trauma response at this point to even open Hinge.
It's a dystopian nightmare out there. The absolute audacity of the men on these apps is staggering.
It's actually offensive.
You look at the behavioral economics of modern dating, and the return on investment is zero.
Literally zero.
They're constantly disappointing. You swipe, you match, you suffer through 3 days of the most agonizing dry text conversation known to mankind.
Hey, how's your weekend?
And for what? To meet up for a mediocre coffee date with a man who lied about his height by 3 inches.
Always 3.
Always. Who brought up his crypto portfolio within the first 10 minutes.
Oh, the crypto bros.
And genuinely thinks going to therapy is a red flag. Why would we subject ourselves to that?
We shouldn't.
Why let the false promise of commitment interrupt our sugar daddy manifestations?
Exactly. I am trying to manifest a soft life.
We deserve the soft life.
I want to be swept off my feet, not dragged through the emotional mud of a situationship for 6 months where I have to decode whether a thumbs up emoji means he's busy or he hates me.
A thumbs up emoji is an act of violence.
It is. Sometimes I wonder if marriage is even worth the hassle. I looked at the stress Baylen and Colin are under, mostly Colin, let's be real, and I think, do I really want to cry over caterers?
Definitely not.
Do I want to lose sleep over the structural integrity of a wedding cake?
But let's play devil's advocate. Let's run a hypothetical scenario.
Okay, I love a hypothetical.
If it did happen, if the manifestation worked and the perfect, fully funded, emotionally intelligent man arrived, what does the dream wedding look like?
Oh, wow.
Because I know exactly who would become the ultimate spiraling bridezilla out of the two of us, and I think we need to put it on the record right now.
Okay, wait, who do you think it would be? Because I feel like I would be super chill.
You.
Chill?
Yes. I would just be floating through the day, absorbing the love and the vibes.
Babes, let's be incredibly for real right now. You
Sorry.
just said you are emotionally much to the aesthetic of a pink drink.
Okay, but that's different. If the florist brought you peonies that were a quarter shade too peach instead of true blush pink, you would literally have to be sedated.
Fine.
You would be a beautiful, weeping, chaotic bridezilla. You would care so deeply about the microaesthetics that the macro logistics would send you into orbit.
Okay, fair. I feel incredibly seen and slightly attacked, but fair.
It's the truth.
I would definitely care deeply about the vibe. I just want it to be an ethereal, romantic wonderland. And if the lighting is harsh, I will perish. But you would be the type to get fiercely analytical and snarky with the vendors.
Now this.
You wouldn't cry, but you would be pulling up complex Excel spreadsheets and auditing the caterer's ingredient costs mid-reception.
I would simply demand excellence for the amount of money being spent.
You'd be in the back room aggressively negotiating the corkage fee while the DJ plays the Cupid Shuffle.
I would be a logistical nightmare for a wedding planner, I fully admit that.
A total nightmare.
I would not be weeping over the shade of a peony, but I would absolutely be sending strongly worded, bullet-pointed emails at 3 a.m. regarding the spatial flow of the cocktail hour. I have standards.
Which honestly leads perfectly into something we have to share with the squad.
Oh, yes. The question.
Because before we started rolling today, Allison, who is behind the camera right now, making sure we look fabulous, asked us the wildest question.
She really did.
She literally looked at us and said, if you two had your own reality TV show, what would your shtick actually be?
And we instantly spiraled.
We went down a rabbit hole.
Because let's analyze the mechanics of reality television. Are we too self-aware for TLC?
Probably.
Do we have too much media literacy to let producers manipulate us into unhinged sound bites? Or would we fall right into the trap?
I feel like we'd fall into it.
We're both dentists. Does being medical professionals automatically make us too normal and boring for reality TV? I mean, what is our hook?
I don't think we're boring at all. I think our permanent single chaos, combined with the fact that we look perfectly put together in our scrubs during the day, but then come home and devolve into slushed wine and Bravo-level gossip, would be pure gold.
It's the contrast.
It's the contrast. I am delusionally convinced we would be the beloved fan favorites. The people would root for us.
You are so delusional.
They would make fan cams of us drinking rosé.
Let's talk about how reality TV edits actually work. I am realistically convinced the producers would give us the villain edit by episode 2.
No way.
Yes.
Yeah.
They use a tactic called frankenbiting, where they take audio from 3 different conversations and splice it together to make you sound horrible.
Ugh. True.
They would completely strip our context. They would show me analytically evaluating someone's dental x-rays, looking super serious, and then cut to audio of me making a wildly sarcastic comment about their life choices from a completely different day.
Okay, that'll be hilarious, though.
Boom, I'm the mean girl of the network. We just have to lean into it.
We actually brainstormed some fake show concepts, and honestly, TLC, call us.
We have pitches ready.
We have Soft Life Dentists, which is just us trying to do the absolute least amount of clinical work possible while affording luxury vacations.
Yes, I would watch that immediately. Or Wine and Wellness, which is us pretending to go to a high-intensity Pilates class, but actually just going to a bottomless brunch for 3 hours and analyzing our astrological charts.
That is literally just our real life.
Then there's the Slush Queens, where we just evaluate different frozen alcohol combinations, rate them on a scale of 1 to 10, and cry about our exes.
Pilates and problems.
Manifesting millionaires.
Now, the options are endless. But the point is, getting a good edit on reality TV is an absolute art form.
It requires a specific kind of willful ignorance.
And if anyone knows about getting a reality TV edit, it's the Dupree family.
Oh, they are masters of it.
So, babes, pour your slushies to the absolute brim because we are getting into the Season 3 premiere of Baylen Out Loud.
Let's get into it.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I've been dying to talk about this. The episode is called It's Time to Party. And it sets the stage for so much elite chaos.
So much chaos.
You know, Baylen's delusion isn't just a quirky personality trait. It is a full-blown lifestyle.
It is a state of being.
Let's get into the very first part of this recap, which is basically a case study in what I am calling the procrastination station.
A deeply triggering segment of television for anyone who has ever had to plan anything, ever.
Literally anything.
A level of executive dysfunction on display here is staggering.
We open up, and we find out Baylen and Colin are exactly 7 months out from the wedding. Now, in wedding world, 7 months is basically tomorrow.
It's practically yesterday.
The countdown is blinking red. You should have the major pillars of the event completely locked down. But what do they actually have?
Nothing.
They have a venue. That is literally it.
It was physically painful to watch Colin list off the things they do not have. Let's review the inventory of absolute nothingness.
Please do.
No save the date sent out, no caterer booked, no wedding dress, no suit for the groom, no florist, no cake, no dessert plan. Just empty vibes and a rented room.
Colin is sitting on that couch, and you can visibly see him sweating bullets.
His vital signs are failing.
He is so incredibly stressed, he's doing the math in his head, realizing that the modern wedding industry is a beast.
Vendors book up a year in advance.
Exactly, and they have nothing. Meanwhile, Baylen is sitting next to him, totally unbothered. The contrast is hilarious.
She is living in her own world.
She is completely focused on her GLP-1 weight loss journey.
And we should probably clarify that for the snark squad who might not be deep into the medical aesthetics world.
Yes, give us the breakdown.
She's on a GLP-1 journey. Those are the injectable medications like Ozempic, Wegovy, or Mounjaro that regulate blood sugar and massively suppress appetite by delaying gastric emptying.
Right.
It essentially quiets the food noise in your brain, and she looks great. Absolutely.
It's stunning.
She was talking about how she gained 20 pounds from her Tourette's medication, which is a very real side effect of those neuromodulators, and now she's down 6 pounds on the GLP-1, and she's just radiating confidence.
She looks amazing. But her priorities are wildly out of alignment with the reality of the calendar.
Wildly.
She is spending her time trying on these last rodeo-themed mini dresses with little blue bows for her bachelorette party, which, again, aesthetic on point.
Sure.
But ignoring the fact that she doesn't have food to feed her actual wedding guests in 7 months.
Right.
How do you plan an outfit for a party when you haven't planned the actual marriage?
It's a classic psychological avoidance tactic.
Explain.
When the human brain is faced with a macro-level task that induces severe decision paralysis, like negotiating a $15,000 catering contract in a wildly inflated economy, it retreats into aesthetic microtasks to simulate productivity.
Wow. Okay.
Baylen's planning strategy is exactly like painting the decorative trim on a house while the concrete foundation is actively sinking into a swamp.
That is such a good analogy.
She's focusing on the blue bows because controlling the micro gives her a false sense of security over the macro. It is willful ignorance disguised as being chill.
See, I have to defend Baylen here just a little bit.
Of course you do.
As the resident aesthetic girly of this podcast, the bachelorette outfits are crucial.
Are they, though?
Yes. You are going to be taking a million photos. Those photos live forever on Instagram. That blue bow dress was adorable.
Fine, it was cute.
Sometimes you have to focus on the fun, cute, manageable things to avoid the overwhelming dread of the big, scary logistical things. It's a coping mechanism.
It's a terrible coping mechanism.
You need dopamine to plan a wedding, and booking a porta-potty vendor doesn't give you dopamine. A cute dress does.
A cute dress doesn't feed 100 people, my friend.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the kicker, the piece of information that makes this entirely unhinged.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
They literally have a wedding planner. Her name is Shannon.
Shannon, where are you, Shannon? We need a proof of life photo for Shannon.
Exactly. Baylen casually drops that they haven't heard from Shannon. But how does that mechanism even work?
I don't know.
You hired a professional whose literal job, whose contractual obligation, is to give you deadlines and keep you on track.
Yeah, that's what you pay them for.
If your wedding planner is ghosting you at 7 months out, you don't just sit on the couch trying on mini dresses. You fire Shannon and hire someone who will actually plan the wedding.
Right.
How are you failing at planning when you literally outsource the planning? What is the economic logic here?
It really is baffling. It makes you wonder what the division of labor actually is behind the scenes.
Is Shannon even real?
Like, is Shannon real? Is Shannon a producer in a wig? We don't know.
It's highly suspicious.
But instead of calling this phantom planner, what do? They decide to go on a romantic date to celebrate their anniversary.
Of course they do.
Which completely pivots us into the next level of delusion. You know, Baylen's delusion isn't just limited to her procrastination.
No, it is boundless.
It extends to how she views literal agriculture and culinary science.
Prepare yourselves, because the delusion in this next segment is palpable. It defies the laws of physics.
So for their 3-year anniversary, Colin and Baylen decide to recreate their very first date. It's super sweet, in theory.
In theory.
They go back to this beautiful apple orchard. Colin is reminiscing about how he drove almost 2 hours for their first date, and Baylen made him wait an hour in the car because she was still doing her hair.
Unreal.
Which, relatable queen, we've all been there. You cannot rush a blowout.
If a man drives 2 hours for you and then sits in his idling vehicle for an hour while you do your hair, that man is either deeply, profoundly in love or deeply, profoundly desperate.
Probably a little of both.
In Colin's case, it seems to have worked out. But let's talk about the outfit choice for this agricultural excursion, because my analytical brain short-circuited.
Okay, I cringed, but I also deeply respected it.
How could you respect it?
Baylen shows up to an actual, literal apple orchard, a place made of dirt, grass, roots, and uneven terrain wearing 4-inch stilettos.
It was an OSHA violation.
He was.
It was an occupational hazard for a reality TV star. You are walking on a farm. You are sinking into the earth's crust with every step.
Sinking right into the mud.
Colin even calls them stripper heels, which was objectively hilarious. But she was so committed to the aesthetic of looking cute for her anniversary that she abandoned all basic survival instincts.
I respect the commitment to the outfit over agricultural practicality. Sometimes you just have to sacrifice your ankles for the look.
You're insane.
You have to serve, even if you were surrounded by fruit trees. But of course, the stilettos betray her, the uneven terrain wins, and she literally hits her head on an apple tree branch.
A direct hit.
Hit my noggin, she says. It was chaotic. But they do manage to gather a massive bucket of green apples.
Yes, the apples.
And why are they gathering these apples, you ask? Because, in lieu of a caterer, they have decided to make their own homemade apple pies for the wedding dessert.
This is where my blood pressure spiked into dangerous territory.
I knew you were going to lose it here.
Let me pull up the notes from the Reddit Snark Squad, because they were entirely vindicated on this topic. User Terrible, put 2975, said, I was extremely distracted by them making apple pies in graham cracker crusts. That's crazy work.
Oh, wow.
And they are absolutely right. It is not just crazy work, it is a crime against culinary science.
Wait, hold on. Why is it crazy work? I love a graham cracker crust. Graham cracker crusts are delicious.
For certain things.
They are sweet and crumbly.
Because it's a baked apple pie. Let's break down the literal chemistry of baking.
Okay, Professor.
A traditional apple pie goes in a pastry crust. That is a laminated dough made of flour, water, and cold butter.
Right.
The cold butter melts in the oven, creating steam, which separates the layers of flour to create a flaky, structurally sound barrier that can hold hot, bubbling fruit juice.
Okay, that makes sense.
You put key lime pie or cheesecake in a graham cracker crust, because those are custard or dairy-based fillings that set up and chill in the fridge.
Oh, I see where you're going with this.
A graham cracker crust is literally just pulverized cookie crumbs held together by melted butter and sugar.
Yeah.
If you dump hot, wet, simmering apples into a pre-made graham cracker crust and bake it at 400 degrees, the acid in the juice will instantly dissolve the sugar bonds in the crust.
Oh, no.
It is a textural nightmare. It will become a soggy, disintegrating soup. It is structurally unsound.
Okay, when you explain the literal chemistry of it, it does sound tragic. I didn't realize there was a structural integrity issue with pie crusts.
It's science.
Yeah.
And beyond the culinary offense, let's look at the logistics.
The logistics are bad.
You are 7 months out.
Huh.
You don't have a caterer. And your plan is to hand peel hundreds of apples to make DIY, structurally doomed pies for a massive guest list.
For like 150 people.
The delusion is staggering. You cannot DIY catering for 150 people unless you operate a commercial kitchen.
Okay, yes, the logistics are a nightmare. But we have to look deeper here. We have to look at the human element.
Oh boy, here we go.
Because while we are snarking on her baking choices, we have to acknowledge the very real, beautiful growth Baylen is showing in the scene.
Okay, fair.
She talks about how the kitchen used to be a place of severe anxiety for her because of her Tourette syndrome.
Right.
And think about it. Being around sharp knives, peelers, boiling water, and hot stoves when you have severe involuntary motor tics, that is genuinely terrifying.
It's a huge liability for yourself.
Exactly. That is a daily danger.
That is a very valid point, and I will concede that. To see her confidently holding a peeler and a knife, working alongside Colin, and explicitly saying she isn't scared of her tics in that environment anymore, that is massive personal growth.
It really is.
Overcoming that specific phobia, reclaiming a space in your home that used to be a danger zone, is actually really beautiful to witness.
It is. It made me a little emotional. Even if she is making structurally unsound, soggy pies, she's doing it with confidence and without fear.
True. That is a win in my book. But speaking of things that are structurally unsound and absolutely bound to fail,
Oh, the segue.
let's talk about the ring bearers.
Mm-hmm.
Because, Baylen's delusion isn't just limited to her baking skills. It extends to how she views the literal animals in her house.
The dogs. We have to talk about the dogs. They're the real stars of TLC.
They absolutely are. Fluffy, Tootsie, and Pumpkin, who Colin insists on exclusively calling Gilbert, which is just objectively hilarious, are the main characters of this family.
Gilbert is such a good name for a dog.
And Baylen reveals her grand surprise for the wedding ceremony. She has purchased 3 pink motorized ride-on toy cars.
The kind you buy at Target.
Exactly, the kind little toddlers drive around the driveway. And her plan, her genuine, unironic plan, is for the 3 dogs to drive themselves down the wedding aisle in these pink luxury vehicles.
And this is where we see the absolute spectrum of delusion in their relationship. Baylen looks at these plastic cars and thinks, yes, this is a brilliant, totally feasible, highly aesthetic idea.
She really thinks it's going to happen. Colin looks at these cars and instantly, analytically knows it is going to be a catastrophe.
Because it is.
It is the psychology of anthropomorphizing pets. Baylen thinks they understand the assignment. Colin knows they are literal animals with zero executive function.
They decide to do a test run in the backyard. And babes, it was exactly what you would expect.
Pure elite chaos.
It was. They put the dogs in the cars. Cluffy, who is clearly the most sophisticated, refined, and compliant of the 3, kind of stays in the car.
Barely.
She looks deeply confused, but she holds her position.
Fluffy is currently living the ultimate soft life. She is being chauffeured in a pink luxury vehicle.
She knows what's up.
She understands that compliance equals treats. She is a survivor.
But Tootsie and Pumpkin, absolutely not. The second the car makes a mechanical whirring sound and inches forward, they immediately bail.
They leaped out.
They leap out of those cars like they are on fire. Colin even ranks their willingness to participate, and he says, Gilbert is a hard third.
A very hard third.
He is not having it. He is fully rejecting the narrative.
It's pure delusion from Baylen to think this will work on the actual day. Let's think about this logically, breaking down the sensory input for a dog.
Okay, let's hear it.
You are at a wedding venue. There are 100 strangers staring.
True?
There is loud music playing. There are strange smells, floral arrangements, catering prep. And you expect 3 dogs who won't even sit in a toy car in the safety of their own quiet backyard to magically stay seated and drive straight down an aisle.
It's a lot to ask.
Reality TV producers must have been salivating at this idea because they know it's going to fail spectacularly. Those dogs are going to jump out and run straight into the nearest decorative bush, or worse, the lake.
I'm laughing so hard just picturing it. Just 3 empty pink cars slowly driving themselves into a pond while the bridal chorus plays.
That's exactly what will happen.
But you know, aesthetically, the pink cars match the vibe perfectly. They match the rosé.
You are obsessed with the rosé.
I am. I am rooting for Fluffy to make it down that aisle. She is a professional.
Fluffy might make it. The other 2 will be casualties of the event.
Sadly, yes.
But speaking of casualties of wedding planning, let's get into the absolute meat of this episode.
Oh, this is the heavy stuff.
The part that had me pausing the TV and pacing my living room. The ultimate sister betrayal. The bachelorette disaster.
Babes, pour another glass. Top off your slushies because this is where the drama gets incredibly dark.
Very dark.
This is where the family dynamics get so messy, I was physically cringing at my screen.
It was a masterclass in how not to communicate with your family.
Where?
It was a failure on every single interpersonal level.
Let's set the stage. Baylen and Colin decide to do a joint bachelor and bachelorette party.
First mistake.
They rent this massive, gorgeous cabin in Asheville, North Carolina, and I mean massive. It has 10 beds, 2 hot tubs, huge wraparound porches. It looks incredible.
It looked expensive.
Super expensive. The bridal party is huge, 7 bridesmaids, 7 groomsmen. So you have a massive amount of personalities, schedules, and logistics to manage.
And who is supposed to manage this? Traditionally, the best man, Austin, and the maid of honor, Sammi. Baylen's sister.
Right.
The only sister she has. The person who is contractually obligated by sisterhood to ensure this weekend goes flawlessly.
But here's the drama. Sammi completely ghosts.
Vanishes.
She doesn't help plan. She doesn't answer texts. The weekend of the trip arrives, everyone flies or drives in. They're at this gorgeous cabin in Asheville, drinking out of custom shot glasses, wearing matching outfits, and Sammi is nowhere to be found.
Unbelievable.
She just doesn't show up.
It is the ultimate reality TV ghosting.
Yeah.
Baylen is sitting there wearing a tiny little bride hat, literally saying, I just want to know where she is. That's how mad I am.
And then the phone call showdown happened.
The tension.
Sammi finally texts, asks Baylen to call her, and the cameras catch the actual conversation. And babes, the tension is suffocating.
It's so thick.
Sammi claims that she absolutely cannot fly to Asheville. She says there is no feasible way for her to go, and her reasoning is entirely based on her severe OCD and travel anxiety.
Right. Sammi states her required travel regimen. It is highly specific.
Very specific.
She says she can only take one specific airline. She has to sit in one specific seat on the plane. And she will only take direct, non-stop flights.
Which is a lot to coordinate.
If those 3 criteria are not met, she says she spirals into a severe panic attack. And because she couldn't find a direct flight on her preferred airline to an airport near Asheville, she just opted out.
She just canceled.
She unilaterally canceled her participation.
And she didn't just opt out peacefully. The blame game was wild.
She was so aggressive about it.
Sammi is mad. She is actively angry that Baylen booked a destination trip without consulting her first. She says she just got a group text 2 weeks before saying, hey, we're going to Asheville.
To accept.
And Baylen is heartbroken, crying, saying her sister and maid of honor just abandoned her for her biggest life event.
Okay, this is where we have to dive into the Reddit sleuthing. Because the Snark Squad on the Baylen Out Loud subreddit came with receipts, maps, and flight schedules.
Oh, they always bring the receipts.
They completely dismantled Sammi's geographical argument. User SameEscape4055 posted a thread titled, No Regional Airport in Asheville NCBS.
I saw that.
They pointed out that Asheville literally has a Class C regional airport in Fletcher, just 15 minutes from downtown.
Yes, I saw that thread. And user PA Mallow Princess 98 brought up the fact that Greenville-Spartanburg International Airport is only an hour and 15 minutes away.
Barely a drive.
You could easily fly there and have a friend from the bridal party drive you the rest of the way.
Yeah.
Even Charlotte Douglas International is just a few hours away. It's a massive hub.
Exactly. Even if her one specific preferred airline doesn't fly direct into the tiny Asheville Regional Airport, There are massive international hubs right there.
Right there.
And this is where the Reddit debate got really heated. You had users like Gullible Addendum 8630 and John Deere Lawnmower defending Sammi,
Which I get.
saying, look, OCD is a crippling illogical mental illness. You have to understand the clinical difference between generalized anxiety disorder and obsessive-compulsive disorder.
It's totally different.
OCD locks the brain into a singular safe path. Her brain tells her only one airline is safe. You can't just tell someone with severe OCD to suck it up and take a connecting flight on a budget airline.
And I have to say, I am standing 10 toes down in defense of Sammi on that specific front.
Are you really?
Yes, I feel immense empathy for severe mental health struggles. Anxiety and OCD are paralyzing. It is not just being nervous.
I know, it's not.
It is a physiological terror response. When your brain is screaming at you that something is unsafe, that you will literally die if you get on the wrong plane, logic completely goes out the window.
But the airport was right there.
It doesn't matter if Charlotte is a 2-hour drive away. If the flight to get there isn't the exact safe parameters your OCD requires, it feels physically impossible. You cannot logic your way out of an OCD spiral. So I understand why she felt trapped.
Okay, I hear you.
But at the same time, my heart just breaks for Baylen. She's sitting in that cabin, feeling completely abandoned by her best friend and only sister.
See, I hear you, and I appreciate your empathy. But I am going to push back on this aggressively.
Go ahead.
Empathy for the anxiety.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It is a real clinical condition. But having a clinical condition does not excuse being a terrible communicator.
That is true.
Let's look at the chronological timeline of this disaster. Both of these sisters are completely at fault for this communication nightmare.
How so?
Baylen and Colin know Sammi. They have known her for her entire life. They know she has severe travel limitations. Yet, they unilaterally planned an out-of-state destination party, didn't ask her if the logistics worked for her specific medical needs, and just send a group text 2 weeks out.
Yeah, the 2 weeks out thing is crazy.
How can you expect your maid of honor to plan a trip when you dictate a location she physically cannot get to?
That's a very fair point. You can't set someone up for failure and then be mad when they fail. User TV Talking on Reddit made this exact point.
What did they say?
They said if Baylen knew Asheville would be hard for Sammi, she should have expected to plan it herself, and Sammi could have planned something separate locally, like a local spa day.
Precisely. But let's look at Sammy's reaction, because it was equally terrible.
Here he was.
Instead of calling Baylen immediately upon receiving that group text and saying, hey, I love you, I'm so excited for you, but my OCD will not allow me to make this flight work, let's figure out an alternative, she just ghosted.
She completely ghosted.
She went radio silent. She weaponized her anxiety. She made it about her, like user tits not tatuma.
Yep.
Beautifully wrote on Reddit, and what an iconic username.
Iconic.
They talked about having severe generalized anxiety disorder themselves and said anxiety is a reason why doing things is difficult, but it's not an excuse to be hurtful.
Wow, that's powerful.
You can't let your mental health become a shield that allows you to ruin someone else's special moment without even giving them the courtesy of a phone call. The issue isn't the flight. The issue is the ghosting.
Wow. Okay, when you break down the timeline like that, it's undeniable. The lack of communication is what caused the pain, not the OCD itself.
Exactly.
If they had just talked to each other like adults, if Sammi had just communicated her boundaries, but instead they triangulated.
So much triangulation.
They talked to the mom, Julie, they talked to Colin. It became this massive web of resentment, which brings us perfectly to the next layer of this drama.
Oh, the meddling.
Because you know who loves to insert himself into a web of resentment? The groom. Let's talk about the meddling groom himself. Do we finally like Colin?
Oh, Colin.
It's messy.
The military mindset meets emotional family dynamics. It is a recipe for disaster.
So Colin is undergoing a massive life transition right now. He's leaving the military. He's starting a new civilian job. They're talking about buying a house instead of renting.
Which is sane.
Which, by the way, trying to buy a house and plan a wedding in 7 months is pure financial and emotional insanity.
It is economic suicide, the interest rates alone. But I digress.
Truly. But amidst all of this stress, Colin is at the cabin. And he is watching Baylen cry over Sammi. And what does he do? Does he comfort her? Yes.
But then he takes it too far.
But then he takes it a step further. He pulls his own sister, Colleen, aside at the cabin. He starts complaining about Sammi, saying she never even picked up the ball to drop it.
So inappropriate.
And then he strongly, unequivocally shints to Colleen that he wants her to step in and take over the maid of honor duties. He basically wants to fire Baylen's sister and hire his own sister for the role.
I'm going to completely shade Colin right now. Stay in your lane, bro.
He went way out of his lane.
You do not meddle in sister drama. You certainly do not attempt to unilaterally fire the bride's sister from the bridal party without the bride's explicit instructions.
It's a massive overstep.
This is what happens when someone with a military operational mindset tries to fix an emotional problem. He identifies a broken gear in the machine, Sammi, and tries to swap it out for a working gear, Colin. But human relationships are not machines.
It was so uncomfortable to watch. I felt so bad for Colleen. She was just standing there like, please do not put me in the middle of this.
The Reddit Snark Squad was rightfully dragging him for this.
Yeah.
User Agreeable Antelope 6 called him a control freak.
He kind of is.
And it's true. He's trying to manage a deeply complex, lifelong sibling dynamic with the subtlety of a bulldozer. He thinks he's fixing a logistical problem, but he is creating a massive, potentially permanent family rift.
Oh, Thanksgiving is going to be ruined.
You cannot replace the bride's sister with your own sister and expect Thanksgiving to ever be normal again. The resentment will outlast the marriage.
I totally agree. It was a terrible, messy move. It was wildly inappropriate, but okay. My hopeless romantic side is going to show again.
Let's hear it.
I'm going to defend him for just a second. I can't help but see where he's coming from.
Really?
Yes. He is probably just fiercely, fiercely protective of Baylen. He loves her. He hates seeing her cry on her bachelorette weekend.
Sir.
He sees Sammi hurting her, and his brain kicks in. Problem identified, eliminate problem, insert new solution. He wants Baylen to be happy, and he thinks swapping the maid of honor will fix the immediate logistical stress. It's misguided, it's clumsy, but it comes from a place of deep protective love.
See, I disagree. It doesn't come from love. It comes from a desire for control.
You think?
Absolutely. He wants the wedding process to look a certain way, and Sammi is ruining the aesthetic of a peaceful process. His stress is peaking, and he wants compliance.
Okay, that's a bit harsh.
But I will concede that his frustration is valid. Watching your partner be repeatedly let down by their family is excruciating. You want to fix it for them. Still, he needs to zip his lips, step back, and let the sisters fight their own battles. He's inserting himself as a wedge, and that never ends well.
Well, thankfully, the episode didn't end entirely on that sour, tense note. We have to talk about the final part of our recap, hibachi healing.
Yes, the best part.
Because this was arguably the best, most wholesome, most emotionally triumphant moment of the entire premiere.
It was a much-needed palate cleanser after all the toxic family triangulation. It was actually a beautiful sociological study in how strangers react to neurodivergence.
So the whole crew, minus Sammi and a few others who couldn't make it, goes out to a hibachi restaurant in Asheville. They're sitting around the grill, and they get Chef Bo.
Chef Bo!
Babes, Chef Bo is an absolute icon. He needs his own spinoff.
We stand Chef Bo on this podcast. He is the blueprint for hospitality.
They sit down, and Baylen is clearly a little anxious. The cabin drama is weighing on her. It's a loud public setting, and her Tourette's flares up.
Naturally.
She has a major vocal tic right as Chef Bo is introducing himself. She literally yells out, "Take a dick, Bo!"
Chef Bo pauses. The spatula stops moving.
He was so confused.
He's understandably confused because a stranger just screamed profanity at him. He politely asks what she said, and instead of the table making it weird or Baylen retreating in embarrassment, they just handle it so beautifully.
They did.
Baylen calmly, confidently explains, "I have Tourette's syndrome, I have involuntary motor and vocal sounds. I wasn't saying anything towards you, it's just a tic."
And Chef Bo's reaction should be studied and put in hospitality textbooks.
Seriously.
He doesn't get offended. He doesn't get awkward. He doesn't treat her like she's fragile or broken. He completely embraces it.
He rolled right with it.
He immediately jokes back. He starts feeding everyone sake from the little squirt bottle, which, by the way, Baylen had never had sake before, and her reaction to the taste was adorable.
She hated it.
She really did. And then the ultimate honor. Chef Bo invites Baylen to come around the table and cook on the actual hibachi grill.
Now, my analytical brain has to point out that from a safety, liability, and insurance standpoint, having a customer with severe, unpredictable motor tics operate a flaming hot commercial grill surrounded by open flames and sharp spatulas is a massive choice.
Oh my God, you are ruining the moment.
The restaurant's legal team would probably have a heart attack.
Babes, you are being entirely too analytical right now. Let me have my romantic triumphant moment. Stop ruining it with insurance liabilities.
I'm just looking at the logistics.
Yeah.
But yes, emotionally, it was fantastic. He gave her the spatula, he let her flip the food, he let her do the onion volcano, and she was glowing.
She was having the time of her life.
She was. It was so liberating for her.
It really proved a massive point for the narrative of the episode. We talked earlier about how the kitchen used to be a terrifying place for her.
Exactly.
And here she is in a commercial kitchen setting, surrounded by fire, performing for her friends. It proved that Baylen doesn't need Sammi there to have an amazing, fun, and supportive time.
She really doesn't.
She is surrounded by friends and a fiancé who love her, who advocate for her, and who normalize her condition so completely that she can go out into the world and conquer these spaces that used to give her severe anxiety. It was just beautiful.
It was a very triumphant note to end the Asheville trip on. It showed her resilience. But it definitely leaves us with a huge looming cliffhanger for next week, because the high of the hibachi grill will fade.
It always does.
She still has to fly back home, walk into her house, and physically face Sammi. The confrontation is inevitable.
Exactly. The confrontation is coming, and I am already stressed about it.
Same.
But babes, after watching this absolute circus of wedding planning, sisterly betrayal, graham cracker crust crimes, and hibachi healing, it is time to pivot. We have analyzed them enough.
Time for the segments.
It's time to judge them and to judge ourselves. Welcome to our segment block.
Let the spiraling commence. I am ready to rank these people.
Segment 1. Would we survive reality TV? We touched on this earlier with our pitch concepts, but let's really debate the psychology of it. Could we emotionally handle cameras following our chaotic everyday lives? Could we handle the scrutiny of Reddit analyzing our every move?
Look, I would like to think I am a stoic, unbothered person. I pride myself on my analytical detachment, but the reality is I would be exactly like Sammi.
What? You would ghost your own sister. You would abandon me.
No, listen to the analogy. I would be like Sammi in the sense that I would absolutely refuse to participate if the producers didn't cater to my exact, highly specific, high-maintenance demands.
Oh, that makes sense.
If they booked my travel on a budget airline instead of a premium cabin, I am not going.
You would never fly Spirit.
Never. If they tried to film me before I've had my matcha and done my full 10-step Korean skincare routine, I am locking the bedroom door and putting a towel over the camera lens.
So true.
I am simply too high maintenance for the grueling, unpredictable schedule of reality TV production. I require specific lighting and adequate hydration.
That is actually so accurate. You would be a producer's worst nightmare. You'd be auditing their craft services budget and demanding better snacks.
I would unionize the cast.
You literally would.
Exactly. I would demand fair labor practices.
What about you? Could you handle the cameras? Could you handle the Reddit threads?
Absolutely not. I would have a complete, devastating emotional meltdown the second the cameras caught me in a bad outfit.
A single bad angle and you're done.
Like, imagine you think you look cute, you put together this great look, but then you see the raw footage from a low angle under harsh fluorescent hospital lighting. I would perish.
You would?
My self-esteem would never recover. And don't even get me started on the dating app element. If TLC filmed me going on one of these tragic Hinge dates we talked about earlier, and the world saw me trying to flirt with a man whose entire personality is holding a dead fish in a boat.
Or crypto, bro.
Or listening to him explain his fantasy football league for 40 minutes, I would have to enter the witness protection program. I could not survive the sheer embarrassment of my romantic failures being broadcast to millions.
They would absolutely zoom in on your face while the man explains cryptocurrency to you, capturing the exact moment the light leaves your eyes.
It would be so humiliating. It would be Emmy Award-winning television, but it would completely destroy your soul.
It really would. I'll stick to podcasting. Okay, moving on to segment 2, most marriage ready. Out of everyone we saw on this premiere episode, who actually seems genuinely ready for the commitment, the compromise, and the maturity of marriage?
Let's run down the list of suspects. Is it Baylen?
Definitely not.
She's currently focused on blue bows and pink toy cars while having no caterer, no dress, and a collapsing timeline. So logically, no. Is it Sammi?
Absolutely not.
She can't even commit to a domestic flight or a text message, let alone a lifetime partnership of compromise, so no.
What about Colin? He is at least stressed. He understands that a timeline exists. He's buying a house, he's getting a new job, he's actively trying to fix problems. That screams ready to settle down and provide.
Colin is ready for the concept of marriage, but his execution is deeply flawed.
Because he's controlling.
He's too controlling. He's trying to run his fiancé's family like a military platoon. You can't just court-martial your sister-in-law when she misbehaves. You have to navigate emotional nuance, which he currently lacks. So he's disqualified.
Is it the dogs?
Fluffy is ready for a life partner. Tootsie and Pumpkin have severe commitment issues. They bailed from the cars immediately.
So who does that leave? Who is the beacon of hope?
Honestly,
Yeah.
the only person who demonstrated true, steadfast commitment, reliability, and silent provision in this entire episode was Dad Allen.
Oh my gosh, Dad Allen, the unsung hero.
Think about it. Baylen and Colin go to London, they come back, and they vaguely ask him to help with some wedding projects. What does this man do?
He builds the cross.
He flawlessly, silently, and efficiently builds a massive, gorgeous, structurally sound wooden cross for the ceremony in his backyard. He measures twice, cuts once.
He puts polyurethane on it.
He gets the job done without complaining, without causing drama, without requiring a 10-bedroom cabin in Asheville, and without demanding a reality TV edit.
He just does the work.
Dad Allen is the blueprint for reliability. He is the most marriage-ready person on the network.
I am screaming. You are so right. Dad Allen just quietly existing in the background, doing carpentry, providing solutions instead of problems is peak husband material.
Julie is a very lucky woman.
She really is, which actually transitions perfectly into segment 3, Sugar Daddy Manifestation Rankings. Who is secretly best positioned for the ultimate soft life? Who is manipulating the system perfectly?
I mean, we already named the true winner earlier. Fluffy the dog.
Fluffy, the queen of the soft life.
Fluffy is getting chauffeured in a pink luxury vehicle while wearing a custom flower girl outfit. She has no job, she pays no rent, she has zero understanding of inflation, and her biggest daily stressor is whether or not she gets an apple slice from the kitchen floor.
Goals, literally goals.
Fluffy has successfully manifested the billionaire sugar daddy lifestyle we are all striving for.
It's true. But honestly, Baylen is giving incredibly strong soft life energy too. Think about her strategy here. It's a masterclass in weaponized incompetence.
Oh, totally.
She has completely delegated all the logistical stress, the timeline panic, and the financial burden to Colin. He is sweating on the couch over budgets, and she is twirling in a boutique talking about how much she loves her aesthetic.
It's diabolical.
That is top-tier soft life behavior. She is letting the man handle the hard labor while she curates the vibes. I kind of respect the hustle.
It is a brilliant strategy until you show up to your reception and there is literally no food to eat because you forgot to hire a caterer and your DIY graham cracker pies disintegrated.
Okay, minor details.
Minor details. But yes, the commitment to delusion is a key component of the soft life.
Exactly. You have to believe the delusion to live the delusion. Okay, final segment. Segment 4. TLC show pitch meeting. We pitched our own shows earlier, but if we were TLC executives right now, trying to spin off the Baylen Out Loud cast, what chaotic shows are we greenlighting for maximum ratings?
Oh, I have the perfect one for Sammi. It's a travel survival show. We take Sammi and we force her to fly around the world, but she is exclusively booked on ultra-budget airlines. I'm talking Spirit, Ryanair, Frontier.
That's evil.
Middle seats only. Multiple layovers in obscure regional airports. We call it Sammi's Spirit Quest.
That is so dark. That is psychological torture. She would literally evaporate. She would just cease to exist in Terminal B of the Atlanta airport.
It would be the highest-rated show on television. The exposure therapy alone would be groundbreaking.
Okay, what about Colin? I would put Colin on a show where he has to organize other people's chaotic lives, but he has zero actual authority to enforce his rules.
He would hate that.
Like, he's dropped into the homes of frantic, unorganized brides who are exactly like Baylen, and he has to try and get them on a strict spreadsheet timeline, but they just completely ignore him and focus on ribbons. We call it Groomzilla Boot Camp.
He would age 40 years in a single season. The vein in his forehead would simply burst by episode 3.
It really would.
And finally, we have to pitch a crossover. We take ourselves, the two of us, and we just sit in a lavish room drinking our slushed strawberry rosé, and we bring in the cast members one by one to give them unprompted, highly critical, analytical feedback on their life choices.
Yes!
We sit them down and confront them with their own delusion. We call it the snark side intervention.
I would sign that contract today. TLC, our DMs are open. Get your legal team on the phone. Babes, this has been the most cathartic, hilarious, deeply analytical unpacking of reality TV I think we've ever done.
It really has been.
Surviving the elite chaos with you all makes the permanent single life so much more bearable.
Truly. We may not have a ring, we may not have a phantom wedding planner named Shannon, and we may not have a 10-bedroom cabin in Asheville, but we have our slushies, we have our impeccable analysis, and we have each other.
And we have the Snark Squad. Thank you, babes, so much for hanging out and surviving the elite chaos with us today. Now it's your turn to sound off.
We need to hear from you in the comments because the discourse must continue.
Yes, the discourse never sleeps.
We have questions that require immediate, detailed answers. Number 1, do you think we'd actually survive reality TV? Or would we be canceled by week 2 for being too cynical?
Definitely canceled.
Number 2, what should our fake reality show actually be called? Pitch us your best titles. Be creative.
Number 3, be honest with us. Is marriage totally overrated? Are we better off manifesting a soft life solo, free from the stress of caterers and meddling grooms?
Let us know.
And finally, the most important question of the day. What is your absolute favorite frozen drink combo? Listen, if it's not strawberry rosé, you're objectively wrong, but we want to know anyway. Maybe we'll try it next week.
Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. The algorithm demands your engagement, and so do we. Feed the machine.
And please, keep sending in your shady, snarky, or just straight-up stupid submissions for future episodes. We love reading your rests.
It sustains us.
So until next time, babes, stay messy, stay delusional, and we will see you on the snark side.